much, so we started things a couple minutes behind.
Do you want the truth?
Yeah, what's the truth? Talk to me.
I was just at home chilling.
No, the truth is the title was too long, so I had to shorten the words.
I figured that.
I was like, I'm trying to figure out how to make this title work.
Hey, look, and the title might be super misleading. So, again, this is like a couple weeks in a row that I've like had this thing in my head and don't know quite how to explain it. So, y'all will get the context once I get to talking about it. So, we got one more minute, man. We got one more minute, and we're going to get this thing started. Appreciate everybody jumping on and bearing with us, even when we're a couple minutes behind. Appreciate your grace.
Yeah. Hey, Isaac, check your DM, bro.
Will do.
Shout out to all the listeners, all the loyal listeners. We'll see you down in weeks. Miss Fluid in St. Louis. What's going on, Boogie? Kenya, welcome. Chris. Soul check. What's goody? Yes, Black Lima later.
Few more seconds, and we're going to bring that. Matter of fact, while we waiting, well, no, I'll wait. I'll do it in the whole script. That way I don't fuck it up. Top of the morning, everybody, though. 10:10. All right, let's keep going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Meeting. I'm your host, Nick Love. Please like me, love me, follow me here on Fanbase. I can use the love, but actually today, don't send me no love. Send them to Isaac. Today is Isaac's birthday, the creator of this platform. So please show him some love. Throw him a penny, 2 pennies, 5 pennies if you feel so inclined. Show my man some love. It's his birthday. It's a big day. So shouts out to him. We do this call every single Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time-ish. A little late today, but it's all G. As the call implies, we talk about marketing, ideas, concepts, strategies, things to get your creative juices flowing for the day, the week, the month, the rest of this year. We are, what's today, June 10th? So,
yep.
4 weeks of June left, man, and we will have completed 6 months of 2024. So I hope this first half of the year has been good to y'all. It has been a rocky road over here, but it's good. Man. I can't complain and I won't complain. So shouts out to, living life as best as we can do so. Luckily, I don't have to do this call alone. I'm joined by some of my smart, brilliant, amazing, funny, hilarious friends. So shouts out to them. What up to Duran, Joe, Adrena, Dwayne, Gary, and of course Isaac, and everybody in the audience. Who keep that chat flowing. Greg Weeks, shouts out to you, man. Like I really if it wasn't for you, in a lot of ways in the chat, like you really keep that chat going. So shouts out to you. And a few of our regulars I see all the time. I see Coach down there. I see Zeke Music. I see Queen Mo, Jeff Hollywood. Got to get Hollywood and Jeff up here at ASAP. Up here on the stage. CJ, what up to you? I see
Hollywood.
So appreciate everybody who jumps on regularly. Before we get into today's conversation, please hit the arrow at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Share the room. Let people know that we're here. Just in case people tuned in a little early, see us here and decided, they're not doing anything. So y'all go ahead and hit that arrow at the bottom of your phone. Also, join the campfire. Hit the campfire logo at the top right of your screen and join the camp so that you know when we are cranking up these calls. You never caught off guard. You never at a loss. You never missed them. You never missed these meetings. So if you can, hit that campfire logo at the top next to the Monday Morning Marketing Meeting and join the camp. Isaac, before we get started, any updates on Fanbase that we need to know about?
Fanbase is at $1.33 million raised for our $17 million equity crowdfund. If you haven't invested in Fanbase, invest for my birthday. That's kind of an expensive gift for me, but it's a gift for you too.
Congrats, sir.
And what else? We launched the live. Oh yeah, we launched the live feed last week. So if you updated your app most recently, you'll see at the top of the page a button that just says live, and you can always hop into the live feed. Remember, we said everybody's going to be live at all times. Like whenever you hop in that feed, if you're live, somebody will see you and you'll be visible. But we have a lot more coming to live. That's just in small increments that we're adding, but a lot more cooler stuff. It's something that I know that is going to be pushed up or probably come out sooner than later. And we've talked about is actually exclusive live. And I know people have asked for that too. So, get ready to, but we're working.
Love that. Okay. Well, let's get into today's topic, guys. Bear with me. It's going to take me, maybe a minute or two to set it up, but I think you guys will understand where I'm going once I get to talking. And again, apologies for trying to figure out a short, succinct way to kind of introduce these topics when it comes to like making the title of these stages, because I know sometimes people are like, oh shit, sometimes people tune in based on what the topic is. And I probably have made it hard for people in these last couple of weeks, but I think last week was one of our better conversations. Honestly, it's one of the best conversations we've had in a while. So shouts out to all of y'all who joined us last week. Last week was really, 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 really good. So I'm super excited about the conversation that we continue to have. But today's topic, I want to talk about what money, luxury, and soft life, that soft living looks like for Black people, from the perception of other Black people. I saw some stuff on Twitter this past week, and even the conversation that we had last week on this call, and just I'm sure you all have been exposed to this at one time or another. But Atlanta, and I hate to do the pro Atlanta. Atlanta's so great thing, but Isaac, I know you'll join me when I start down this road as well. I don't know. I think we've passed that period where when you see a Black person in a Mercedes or BMW or Tesla or whatever the case may be, that we automatically go to drug dealer. Must be doing something crazy. But I think that we've also entered this era of when we see somebody popping a little too hard, it's, oh, they scamming. Oh, they doing this. Oh, they must, you know what I'm saying? Like the perception of what it looks like when Black people have money, a lot of times still elicits like a negative connotation to it, right? Like, sure, we're allowed to make some money. We know that ball players, celebrities, we've seen YouTubers, podcasters get money. We've even seen some tech people get money. But I think that even Isaac has mentioned this on the call that, he's careful about how he moves, what he does, because as he's raising money to fund this tech platform, he knows and he's aware that Black people will say, oh, he's taking the money and he's doing this and he's doing that, because there's this thing of like, when Black people got money, it is something's up. It's the Illuminati. I know Duran has said this before. It's the Illuminati. It's oh, he must be gay. He must be this. It must be that. She must be doing this. That must be somebody else's money. She must be going overseas, and it's always
every single time
with us. It's rare that Black people that are not athletes that we know, that are not like famous Oprah Winfrey, people that we're aware of, if they got some money and we can't trace the origin of it, it's always kind of excused to, the negative, I would say. Let's just label it kind of as overall the negative. I want to know, let me set this up. I think that marketing is the driving force behind damn near everything. It's one of the reasons that I got into it. I feel like you can shape perception, you can shape moods, you can shape realities with the proper marketing. And I don't know how we got here to the point of like, if you see a Black person with money, even the people that we know to have money, when we look at the Puffs, the Jay-Z's, the Oprahs, it's like, man, okay, yeah, they got this talk show, or yeah, they making music, but they also do this other seedy, underground, shady thing in order to keep that money. It just doesn't seem like we truly believe Black people are supposed to have money. Black people are supposed to be getting it at a billionaire level or even a high millionaire level. There's always some underlying cause of how they got there, how they stayed there. And it seems like we don't truly believe that we're supposed to actually have that. I want to get you guys' opinions on how we got there, but then also how do we do that moving forward? Because every time we see a young person with money, every time we see even a middle-aged older person with money, and we assume must be scamming, must be robbing, must be getting over. And like I said, we passed the must sell drugs. I don't even think we think about drug dealers no more. But we definitely default to scamming, credit card scam, must be doing some insurance fraud, must be, what I'm saying? Like, I hear that a lot. So how do we get there, and how do we get past that from a marketing standpoint?
Ooh,
and I'll go back to everybody.
A money talk. Finally.
Have at it.
No, so I got a few things on this. But third, by the way, your girl's birthday is tomorrow. My wife, her birthday tomorrow. I forgot you on her birthday is a day apart, so I got my work cut out for me.
Oh,
so, yeah, so this money thing is interesting. you made a great point, Nick. When people think, see, I find it interesting that a group of our people will say scam, even to someone that's getting money at a very, very high level. So, for example, I've seen this happen when we were on the app across the street. We talk about capital raising. I think it was around the same time where Third have launched his first crowdfund campaign. So then I asked a few questions to people. I said, do you guys realize if you're investing $2,000, let's even say $10,000, if a person say they raised $2 million, you know how many people they have to scam $2 million? And it's just like, it's the common phrase that's utilized to anybody in our community at the level where a person is making $50 grand a year, all the way to the level where a person is making $5 million a year, and even more disappointing, where a person is making $50 million a year. So then you have to extrapolate, like, do they really think scam, or is this a term that we utilize in our community, like a person getting upset with you and say, suck my dick? This is a heterosexual man saying, suck my dick. He really don't want you to do it. It's just expressions that we utilize to really demean a person inside of our community. Now, that's not to say the least of people that are actually scamming, but I think that term is utilized interchangeably, because in the Black community, what I've noticed is, let me find the worst thing that I can say to a person to make them feel bad. I know, because I exercise it. Oh, you want to talk shit? I'm going to say something that I know that's going to make you feel off. It doesn't necessarily reign to be true about the person every single time. Having said that, I'm not sure what people mean when they actually say that, because, again, the people I see scam are the bankers and stuff that I deal with. Some of the bankers that I actually talk to, that's account managers over my wife and I accounts, some of the shit that they talk about, it's the largest scams ever. And the people they're scamming, if they get caught, their kids are probably going to be assassinated. So I don't know what we mean in our community when we attribute the scamming framework to every single person in the community, like even people that's worth $50 or $40 million. Like, please explain to me how they're actually scamming, so we can figure that out and do it as well. The other thing I'll say is it's the lack of knowledge of how other people get money. That's what I really think it is at the end of the day, Nick. Because it's a lot of people that's in other industries that's doing this stuff at a high level, that's taking from the banks, that's utilizing different tactics to make money. But if it's not a conversation that we are accustomed to having, we can't talk about them. We think we understand how Jay-Z and Beyonce and all of them make money. Oh, he's a rapper. He had a liquor deal. So, boom, we understand his money. We don't really understand all of the assets that he has. 60% of his capital could come from the markets. But because it's a conversation that we think we're comfortable with having, we can be poor but still talk about a rich Black person if they got money from comedy. Because otherwise, we'll be talking about everybody in the world if we want to utilize the term scamming. Because again, if we go over to the bankers and the insurance executives, oh, if you think scamming is something, you're really going to find out what scamming is. So I think it's a cultural thing as well. I'm going on mute.
Well, the cultural part of it that I want to address is kind of, you touched on it a little bit. I do think a lot of it is just we can't figure out where the money's come from, or we think we know where certain people's money come from. So if we can't explain yours, you must be scamming. But I also think that there's this cultural thing of like, that person or those people are just faking it until they make it. They're not really getting to the money.
Yeah.
I remember tweeting this a while back that I actually know people who are actually getting to some money. Now, that don't make them necessarily rich or millionaires, billionaires, whatever the case may be, but there's some of the people that I know, like personally, are actually getting to some money. So when folks say, oh, man, Instagram, people just be, fronting and they ain't really living like that and this, that, and third, I'm like, actually, I think you're just saying that to make yourself feel better, because there are some people who actually are making some money. They actually are moving real estate. They actually are investing. They actually are doing the thing that they say that they're doing. And I think it's a level of comfort that we find in, man, them folks just front. They ain't really got it like they say they get. That's just Instagram. That's just social media. They putting on for social media. But I'm like, yo, everybody ain't putting on. All of us aren't putting on. There are certain people in this thing that are actually doing the thing and having success at it. But I think we default as a culture, not saying everybody on this call, I think people on this call, I consider y'all to be some of the smarter, more, people who have a little bit more discernment, a little bit more discretion when it comes to seeing the real, acknowledging the real, being proud of what's real. But I think as a culture, we default to them folks not really getting it like that. They lying. They must be scamming. They must be doing a thing. They must be doing something else that we don't see, because, like, we don't attribute, like, it's almost like we don't believe we're supposed to have money, supposed to have a soft life. Like I remember, I dated a girl that was doing the soft life thing before that became a term, and I remember my initial impression being like, what? Like, how? What do you mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Your dad bought your first cars. You never had an apartment till you was 32, 33 of your own. You never had to do this. You never had to do that. And it's like, that's a TV thing to me. I remember thinking that to myself, like, that only happens on the Cosby Show. Like, how are you in real life having this type of life? Because I just didn't understand how a black woman had made it this far in life and not experienced certain things. And I remember her conversation just being, like I said, these before these terms became a term, but basically her conversation to me was like, everybody don't have to get it out the mud. All black people are not getting it out the mud. There are some people who have made some money. They've given it to their kids. The kids have had life a little easier than others. And that's nothing to really be ashamed of, per se. Mm-hmm. But I just remember my initial jerk reaction to seeing somebody doing okay, and not having the quote unquote struggle was suspicion.
What's suspicion?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See, like that touches on a part of what Duran was saying with regards to education about money and how to get money, but also with regards to marketing. In my opinion, it kind of settles around the idea of negative propaganda with regards to black folks. Like that, we've been marketed negatively around the world and to ourselves. So I think we are starting to see ourselves in a different light because we're at least a generation and a half or two into being successful, like seeing success, touching success, having successful kids. Like LeBron, his money is passed down already. Like, Jay-Z and beyond that, their money is passed down already. So it's like we're used to seeing it, but I feel like if we don't know how to get there, then we can't help but to want to project our negative feelings onto you must have had to steal that. Like, that there's just no way, just because of the way you feel about yourself and
or shame you for it, Gary, or shame you for being rich. Like black people get shamed for having money, 100%. It's interesting because I get shamed for having money. I'm like, idiot, I was poor like you. What do you want me to do? Like, first of all, forget me and forget what you don't like about me. You want me to be poor and I have 8 kids. So it gets really deep when you start really measuring these people that project themselves to be good people, but just listen to their perspective and you find like you're just human, just like everyone else. Why would you want anybody to have children? I don't want anybody in this room to be poor. I'll talk shit to people, but as far as black people, I want every black person, short of us being a black person that's, human trafficking and all of that type of stuff. I want them all to get rich because I got to tell you, this country is not about to help us at all by any stretch of the imagination. So I find that weird too. I'm going on mute.
Let me try to add this up or put a pathway to how we got here. Okay.
Now you were born. You were raised rich, third, as they say. I'm winking third through the phone, as they say.
You hide your money.
I wanna say that it's a byproduct of the process of how we got wealth. So when the entryway for black culture into large amounts of wealth came through entertainment primarily. So when we think about like singers, athletes, rappers, in those industries, there's a lifestyle that is portrayed of wealth across, especially with hip hop. Let's say per se, the braggadocious, I'm making money, I'm counting money phone, chains, diamonds, XYZ, right? Cool. I believe there's such a thing as loud wealth and quiet wealth. And so when I even think about, so when I think about quiet wealth, most of the people that I know that actually have true wealth are quiet with their wealth. They're not loud with their wealth. I don't think that, Mac Wilborn is not loud with his wealth. If anybody knows who Mac Wilborn is, he's not loud with his wealth, Even when you think about actors, let's leave the realm of music and let's leave the realm of sports and entertainment and go to actor. All these, Will Smith has got tons of money. His wealth is quiet. Samuel Jackson, quiet wealth. Denzel Washington, quiet wealth. They got tons of money, but they still have quiet wealth. So I think what people are doing are imitating or mimicking the lifestyle of the entry point of where people get their money, right? So even if you are selling real estate, you portray it as if you are like a rapper, right? Or even if you're selling courses, or you're a life coach, or you're doing real, all those kinds of things. You're portraying it as if you are a rapper. Now, what I will say is that I don't necessarily think that's such a smart idea, because you put yourself in a very precarious position, especially if you are a person that takes investment from people or are working with people. Because I will say this, most of the people that I know that live loud wealth really don't have it. And what I mean is, even if they have it, they necessarily aren't they're not paying their taxes, or it's there's things that they're not doing. Like there's a lot of, and then you see what happens is things catch up with people. So and so goes, and somebody gets in trouble for tax evasion, or you find out they are scamming, or they are doing these things. And so I think the psychology of it is that the appearance of wealth, and this is a true thing. I always say this all the time. If you look like you're getting money, people don't have a problem giving you money. Right? If you look like you need $5, it's hard to get $5. If I look like I have 10 million and I need $1 million, nobody has a problem giving me that. It's like, all right, boom. It's like the more money that fan base raises, the easier it is to raise. The first 100,000 was the hardest, right? Because it's like, man, you ain't gonna get to $1 million. So I think what we have to realize is also that sometimes people, flexing, as I per se, I wear, and I've had conversations with Ryan from the Gathering Spot about this. Like Ryan comes from wealth. It's quiet wealth. It's like Ryan ain't running around here in Ferraris, and he could easily be doing that. He could easily be doing Ferraris, gold chains, but they don't. It's not that. So there's such a thing, and there's a lot of people in Atlanta especially, that have quiet wealth. And I think we also want to keep our wealth a secret sometimes from our own people, because we do get criticized or ridiculed for having capital, having money, and we live good. But other than the Real Housewives and Love and Hip Hop, you know what I'm saying, people in Atlanta are rolling in quiet wealth. And so I know that we're allowed to have wealth, but I think we also put ourselves in a precarious position of flexing. And I always say this, and this is important, is that there's a difference between sharing your life and flaunting your lifestyle. I share my life. I'm not going to flaunt my lifestyle. So if I happen to post something and it is cool and extravagant, I'm not doing that. I know people that is like, it's Birkin bag. It's the back of the headrest of the Rolls Royce. It's the feet up on the private jet. It's the whatever. That's flaunting a lifestyle. That's not sharing your life, and there's a big difference.
People will call it flaunting the lifestyle, regardless, sir. But I want to know from you guys once we get a chance, Nick. I know you may be transitioning at this moment. What the hell is looking like wealth is? I've never understood that. Like, how does one look like wealth? Because there is really no true definition of look like wealth. If you put on Louis, that's not looking like wealth. The Louis Vuitton family, Bernard Arnault and his family, they're not going to see you and say you look wealthy because you have their clothes on. So that's a bit of a conundrum itself. I'm going on mute.
Well, I was finna touch on that. Well, a couple of things. One is 10:30. So Gary, I want to start bringing people up from the audience. So just be mindful of that. It is 10:30. Yes, if you're in the audience and you want to add to the conversation, or you got a question, please raise your hand. Gary's gonna get you up here. The second thing is when we talk about quiet wealth and all of that, I still think I agree. First of all, I agree with a lot of what you said, Isaac. I actually don't have anything to counter what you said. Mm-hmm. But to touch on what Duran just said about looking like wealth, what wealth looks like, what wealth sounds like, all of that stuff, right? There's still and what I really want to get to the heart of is there's this perception that, like, have y'all have all seen the memes on Instagram where it's like, look at this black dude. He has a chain.
Oh my God, I hate that fucking meme.
He doesn't. He's not really getting money. But here go this white guy who looks like he shops at Target. And he's a billionaire.
I fucking hate that meme.
Yeah, Bill Gates doesn't have a Prada sweater. He doesn't have a Balenciaga. He doesn't do that. So this is how it's supposed to look. So again, the marketing of what wealth looks like, even what Isaac just said, real wealth, quote unquote, real wealth is quiet. So i.e., if you loud and black, or I won't even say black, let's not even throw black in there, but if you loud, you must not be really getting to the money. So where did this perception that
black people,
if you really get money, you gotta shut up? And if
no.
from black people.
Hold on, let me just finish it, and I'm gonna let you get to it because I'm introducing this only because I want more people to jump in and add to the conversation.
Okay.
But the perception that wealth has to be quiet, wealth doesn't look like us. Do y'all remember the white lady who had the scam that she ran the money up? She got a bunch of investors. She didn't really have an actual product. Y'all remember what it was a special on? It was a documentary on Netflix. Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
Elizabeth Holmes.
Yeah, that one. White lady, look, she white lady was able to run this shit up, didn't have nothing to speak of, didn't even have the product ready to go as she so proclaimed, but because she was a white young woman, quiet, wasn't like doing the thing that we're kind of alluding to.
Theranos.
She ran up, everybody just was like, who? Must be. But when we talk about her, and then we look in contrast to when Isaac is constantly telling us the challenges of Black tech founders, when we're constantly seeing that when Black people are trying to do something similar, not just tech stuff, but when we're trying to get money for, I don't care if we're trying to sponsor an event, if we're trying to get investors, if we're trying to get partners, whatever it is, we know some of the challenges that we run into. And then people say, some of us, we understand why that is, right? It's not the 100% of the cause, but we do know that being Black, being young, moving a certain way plays into the perception of what's happening. So when we talk about wealth, investing, soft life, luxury, having things, being whatever the case may be, why is the perception the way that it is? And again, how do we get out of it? I believe we can kind of market our way out of it, but because I believe we were marketed into that thought process. That's the original premise of this conversation is, hey, I think we got marketed into a way of perceiving each other and perceiving each other with money. So I think that we can market it the other way and get out of that thought process. But I'm finna shut up. I just want to throw those ideas out there and see what you guys say about it.
I think one of the loudest people when it comes to wealth is not even a white person, and that's Donald Trump. He loud, but he really be broke. He finds now his white privilege finds ways for people to bail him out. Other white people will bail. The Russians will loan him money, and he'll put DTJ on the stock market and run the stock up, and everybody invest in it. He finds ways to bail himself out, but he ain't really got it like that. He's not balling like that. He's not rich like that. So that doesn't really have anything to do with.
But how do we know that though, Third? We really don't know. We can believe it.
No, because number one, Donald Trump, first of all, even running for president, he's the first guy running for president that didn't ever show his tax returns to let you know how much money he actually was making.
But but saying that means that we believe what white people say about things. His tax return, that's white people telling us.
I know what I'm saying is that I would think that
I'm rocking with your perspective, Third. I'm just saying we don't know. It's a difference between us believing things and having knowledge. I would hate for someone to come out and say years later, and you're my friend, like, man, we don't the Third don't really got it like that. And then I'm somewhere defending you. Like, how do you actually know? Did you sit down and he showed you his bank account? No. Well, don't say you know. It's a belief. So we can say we believe Donald don't have it. We haven't seen his bank account, Third.
I would change my phrasing that I believe that Donald Trump does not have the wealth that he claims to have, because when they were coming to levy that $450 million, and they were about to start seizing his assets, and he had to go get a loan. Like, my point is, if you got it, I'm like, okay, here, let me pay this little $450 million fine because I'm a billionaire. Here, boom, take it. I don't even care about
Third, sidebar. Natasha said I sound clear. No, Natasha, I just listened to Third. I put that voice isolation on. Sound like a podcast mic. I'm going.
Exactly. No, so I think with us, and then again, this is the thing that I think there's psychological or sociological reasons behind that. And what I mean by that is like, and this is something that I will speak on. I factor into the hard life that Black people have lived in America. And so a lot of times when you're young and you're living the hard life, you want to experience the good life, so you will spend beyond your means, you will have fun, you will live lavish, you will do all these things younger. Because in Atlanta, this is the thing that I used to say all the time. If you're driving down the street in the city of Atlanta and you see, typically back in the day, I'll change a little bit, but if you see a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, it was either one of two people, a young Black man or an old white man. it was typically those people. So in our community, we like, man, I might get, if you in the drug game, like BMF, like they were like, we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know when the feds come to get us. So we gonna run this shit up. We get Lambos, Ferraris. At some point, this ride is going to end. So until it does, we're going to throw $100 bills by the fistful in the strip club and show what balling really looks like. And so I think that there's also that accelerated behavior of showing that you've made it at such a young age. Where really, for me, like I said, for me, the people will talk about, even for me, let's say like some of the most expensive things that I purchased, as far as personal things for myself, I haven't purchased probably in the last 2 or 3 years, and I turned 49 today. So I'm like, I'm waiting till I'm 40, 47. You know what I'm saying? To really buy not 27, not 19. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point is that I understand the cool factor of that, because a lot of people that are rich younger, they kind of do, like, they're young, they're gonna have fun and party, but I know that you can be loud with wealth, and you can be quiet with wealth. And so I think there's a difference with that. I know that we get bashed for having wealth, period. And I just don't ever want us to put ourselves in a position. And that's even for me, for someone that's running a business, and me and Ryan have had these conversations before. I don't want to be the guy that's like PJ, private jet, XYZ, and I've taken people in this room's money, and even though they may not know that has nothing to do with the money that I've raised. I just do it as a rule, just to say, all right, cool. It's a better marketing strategy to not flaunt, as opposed to and build the company and do it the other way. Now,
and that's a problem, sir.
I know. I think it's
black people should want you looking. Black people should want you look in the jet, because that's also a part of the market. I want you to look like the level of the capital you've raised at said time. So if it worked for you to actually be able to go to a venture capitalist and then raise $40 million on a Series A for 5%, and they want you to pull in front of us, if it's a car starter, so you got the 918 Spider, and they're like, oh, Isaac, how did you get the 918 Spider? Oh, man, I had contacted LeBron. I want you to ride in the 918 Spider, because what I'm thinking is, if he going to raise $25 million for 5%, now he has close to $1 billion company. I own a portion of it. I can actually get more money. So that could be a part of the marketing. The fact that you have to hide the reality of your life accelerating because it will make black people feel uncomfortable, that lies the problem. I'm going on.
And to tack on to that.
Go ahead, Gary.
No, I was just going to say,
go pull up.
Yeah, lady, right after. So just to add on to that, because I know you're going to use this, Tasha. Like, for me, it's a bit of the psychology of black people believing we're not supposed to have it for some reason. So that's all I want to add. So Tasha, what do you have? And then we have Greg Weeks. Once you finish your point, Isaac.
I have a few points, but the first point is just it's generational. I mean, this stuff, again, we're talking about things that's rooted in our culture, just going back in time. Like, don't show folks that you got nothing. Like, I think about my parents. Like, my sister drives a Tesla, I drive an Audi. Like, and we go to the hood and pull up at our mama house. And, my dad's like shaking his head like, man, y'all got the neighbor thinking we got money. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? But it's passed down. Like, you just don't want everybody to know, like, you got money, because now they coming over here asking you for money and asking you for favors and things of that sort. It's a cultural thing for me. And it was just like, when I bought my car, I was asked so many questions, like, what made you do that? What made you get that car? Are you putting a cart before the horse? You could take that money and invest it, and you could do this and you could do that. Not knowing my portfolio that I already have investments. This is extra. Like, this is what I want to do. And then I was afraid to do it because I have child support. So now he think he contributes to my car note. And it's like, why? How do you think $200 contribute to an Audi? Like, it's a mindset thing that's passed down over time. And we just really think like, we're going to get got, or we're going to get, taken advantage of. And I just feel like black people in a whole is just marketed fear of it. And it's like, oh, she ain't really got it like that, because, we're taught that. We're taught if you wear furs, you know what I'm saying, you ain't got it. But right now it's a balance. I just think millennials do a great job with, we can look like it and we can actually have it. And, you know, it's just like, oh, I don't want to show my car. I don't want to show my house because then niggas think I got it. And I don't feel like having to explain how I got it. I put in a chat about my sister went on a 2-week vacation and everybody was like, dang, I want the type of job you got. How you make money?
Must be nice.
You doing hair and you get to go on a trip for 2 weeks. You know, it's ignorance.
I got, you know what? There's a real time example of this going on right now. It totally slipped my mind until Natasha, she triggered it. Like, so last week I'm scrolling on the gram and I see this fish company, right? And they have gotten Alaskan snow crab and de-shelled it and just have the crab meat.
Oh yeah, I saw that shit.
Hold on, but this is crazy. The story is crazy. So I went to the page, and when I was looking at their Instagram page, they've been around for a while. But if you look at the marketing of what they've done on their page, they were selling they started with shrimp, and then they had sea bass, and they had lobster and octopus and Australian prawns and XYZ, and then they got crab claws, and then they did the crab. They just started doing the crab legs. And I said, this is. So I made a video. Video goes probably 700,000 views. Right? The company actually reaches out to me and says, "Thank you for the video XYZ." So when I seen this, by the time that I even posted the fact that I had done it, a couple of people told me "Yo, I already know. Order this shit, bro. It's in the run up." And I was being sarcastic, but the irony is, the amount of people that were in the comments saying it's fake crab, that's not real. It's not real crab meat. That's fake crab meat. It's a scam. It's da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, so you don't think that there's such a thing as luxury? You don't think that there's a food company that goes through the tedious process of separating the meat from the crab shell, packaging it up nice and conveniently for you, and charging you triple and double, because I bought 6 pounds of the crab meat, and it cost me $365, right? Of the frozen crab legs. And so there is that perception. I was laughing black people really don't believe that there's luxury out here. You just ain't got it to go buy some crab legs like that. If you want to buy some crab legs, it's gotta be fake. It's gotta be a scam.
Well, it's
luxury
is a perception. But look, it's a perception thing, right? And I know we got a couple people because I want to get to it, but there's this joke that I repeat from time to time in not mixed company because it's really a fucked up joke. But it's a joke. I actually saw it on Instagram. So there's this joke. This is a comedian. He says funny how when you make something Mexican, that people turn their face up at it. He said, so the joke starts as hey, I took the kids to the circus this weekend. Everybody's like, oh, he's like the Mexican circus. Everybody's like, ooh. So that is how it feels like when we, kind of discuss black people, right? It's kind of like, oh, there's this new car company called Tesla, or there's this new car company called Rivian, or whatever the case may be. It's electric cars, blah, blah, blah. Black dude owns it. Everybody I don't know. Now, we go from excited to skeptical immediately just because of ownership or proximity to us. For people who love success, who love wealth, who want to enjoy it, who want to appreciate it, who love buying new, nice things, showing it off, myself included, it's like as soon as you attach blackness to it or black-ownedness to it, the perception shifts. So my question to you all, like I said from the beginning of the call, is how do we shift that? Is it just normalizing us near success where we feel like, okay, that's supposed to happen? One of the things I mentioned at the beginning of the call that I knew Isaac would get on board with is in Atlanta, we do see a lot of black people that are getting to the money. So I do push back when I get on social media and everybody's like, oh, everybody in Atlanta is scamming. I'm like, well, actually, not necessarily.
Right.
I know some people in Atlanta that's getting to some money. So when y'all make these general blanket statements of how everybody in Atlanta is scamming,
they're
everybody
just saying
in Atlanta running some level of fraud, is like, no,
they're just saying it can't be real.
Exactly. So my point is, how do we get to the point where people are like, yo, that's feasible. I can see. Is it just surrounding people by black success, i.e. in the quote unquote Atlanta way? If we exposed everybody, nationwide or worldwide to, there are actually some black people who get to some money in investments, in tech, in the auto industry and the fashion industry, whatever the case may be, because we don't have that perception when it comes to other cultures. When we see other cultures getting money, we don't automatically default to scam. They doing something else. It's really a front for this other thing. How do we get past that?
So other than probably Prince George County, you know what I'm saying, and up in by DC, in Atlanta, and maybe probably, Baldwin Hills or whatever in Los Angeles, there is not a normalization of black wealth. They're very small pockets. So until wealth is normalized on a larger scale, then I think there will always be that criticism because white wealth is blanketed across the country. There's white wealth in every single state, every single county in the entire country, but black wealth is so rare, right, in large amounts. So because I was even this weekend, I was in West Midtown this weekend, so I was over at the Interlock and Putt Shack and all that over there this weekend, and I was like, West Midtown ain't really turn out how they probably thought it was going to turn out. Because there's a bunch of black people over here. Like on the weekend, you pull up and this holiday bar is packed with black people. And so I think what happens in Atlanta, and that's what kind of furthers the legacy of the city is, what happens is they build things thinking that black people can't afford to live there, and then they're surprised, and then we do, and then they move and build something else. Prime example is Atlantic Station. Atlantic Station was built to be a haven and a hub for the gay community and the white community right in the heart of Midtown. And the Negroes took it over, so they built Avalon in Alpharetta. They really copy and pasted, like on a computer, copy, paste, and put Avalon way up in Alpharetta because of that. And I think the mistake that people make, especially coming to Atlanta, and business owners, is that black people don't have money here. And that's the thing that will shake it. You have to really alter your business. I went to LOA. If anybody don't know what LOA is, it's a private membership pool club here in Atlanta. And every single member of the club that I saw this weekend up there were like Africans and black people. And I was
really?
Like, yo, yeah.
I was just there earlier last week, and I saw the complete opposite. That's interesting. You said that.
Oh, and so LOA changed their model from, it used to be $40 to get in, like a $40 membership or whatever. They got super rowdy and they shut it down. So now it's a $2,500 initiation fee and a $2,500 annual fee to become a member. And I went up there Saturday, and it was a bunch of African dudes just literally coming in with their girlfriends. And it wasn't a lot of people. And then somebody was having a party there too. Somebody had like a private party there. It was a large African community up there. So the examples of wealth in Atlanta, like, we don't trip in the city about having wealth. I think other people from the outside looking in at places like when they watch Real Housewives of Potomac and they see like, okay, Maryland, DC, Virginia, they got money up there. You know what I'm saying? They got money in Baldwin Hills in California. They got money in certain neighborhoods in Houston and Dallas where they're wealthy black people. But it's such a small, like, sections. Atlanta is a speck in the entire spectrum of the United States of America. Atlanta's just a little dot on the map. But once black wealth is normalized by the way that we are trying to build companies and invest and grow our wealth and all that kind of stuff, then the process will change, the thought process will change, and then therefore the attitude and those comments will change. It's not going to happen overnight, but we have to create those. We have to create the opportunities to create black wealth, so then black wealth is normalized, so then people are saying, oh, you got to be scamming. No, this is just what we do down here.
We
have to duplicate that.
I've never seen the whites in Beverly Hills and, let's say, Homely Hills, where Diddy lives, and Bel Air. What's another one of the communities? Santa Monica, which ironically has a lot of rich people in the Los Angeles County. The irony is Natasha hit the nail on the head. A lot of this stuff we got from our great-great-grandparents, and this is because they were dealing with a different level of oppression in this country, so they really wanted to hide a lot of things. We see what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't think these conversations are far removed from the philosophical and psychological conversation we have about historical black plight.
Absolutely.
I just think that the category may change of how we think about it. Now, here's the thing. If wealth looks like a thing, if it means something that Nick now is making $4 million a year, so Nick can go and get that car he always liked. Maybe Nick just likes cars. Maybe Nick likes the way that the Germans did the engine on the Porsche. Yeah, and maybe he wants to just buy the Porsche. I'm okay. First of all, I don't have to be okay, but when I see it, I'm gonna be happy. Like, man, look at that black brother, man, in that nice car. That brother look good. Preferably, he can hear me with his windows down, so I can tell him, like, man, you look good, brother, man. Keep doing your thing. Be safe out there. And here's the thing, Natasha's correct, because white people don't hide their wealth here. I always hear this from black people. White people hide their wealth. Bullshit. And it's typically a black person that don't have money that's saying that, because when you get money and get around them, no, they
Facts.
do not.
Facts.
So when I'm in Beverly Hills, I told you guys, I saw a person, and I'll go on mute because I know other people on stage. I saw a person pay a person $20,000 to park their car in front of the Italian restaurant in Beverly Hills because they knew that Angelina Jolie and all of them were coming. $20,000, the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't care if I have $50 billion, I'm not giving the person $20,000 to park my car in the front. Short of me being able to raise $100 million because somebody liked my car. So he was like, literally, whose parking spot is this? He was a very arrogant white man. And then he's like, oh, we're sorry, Mr. John. We have to say, yeah, that's fine. Just move it. And he walked away from the person that works there and just said it loud, like, anyone's parking this car here? He's like, yeah, that's my car, buddy. He's like, I give you $20,000 to move it. He's like, let's do it. He was a young white guy too. And he took the 20, like cash. I watched it. I don't know if they planted that for the cameras for TMZ. They do a lot of that shit in LA as well. But what I'm saying is, I've never seen, since I've been living here almost 8 years now, and Beverly Hills, I've been living there for about 4 years. I've never seen wealth hidden. If you're not driving a Porsche in Beverly Hills, if you're not driving a Ferrari, when you go to the hotels in Beverly Hills, if you're not in one of those cars, they look at you funny. If you don't have on a certain Rolex, they look at you funny. If you don't have on, so you guys need to come to LA and see it. I get how black people want to do it because they have these psychological fears, but this whole notion of white people hiding their wealth, I haven't seen that what the people are talking about. Even at Third's point, even the old white men, they all ride Bentleys and Ferraris and all type of Koenigseggs and all of that type of shit around Los Angeles. I've never seen that. I don't know where that phrase came from. I'm going on.
Hey,
all
so
right,
Gary, look, yeah, Gary, I know we got Weeks, Lenard.
Weeks and Lenard.
Yeah, get them up here before we close out because I want to make sure we talk.
Y'all know I'm in theater, so I see the same thing he's seeing all across this country. It don't be.
Blessings. Weeks. Welcome back to the stage, good brother. What would you like to add to the conversation? And then Lenard, you jump in right after him.
What's up, y'all? I'm in the car. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Nick, you slapping us with some bangers these last 2 weeks, man. But happy birthday, Isaac. But I was gonna say, man, this shit is about. I love what Gary said. It's about the insecurities of the whole conversation. You know, and I allude that to and relate that to education because I look at some of the history of our ancestors, and one of my favorite history lessons was the history around is that the real McCoy. And when you learn about people like Elijah McCoy creating the most elaborate and efficient train lubrication system to the point where people were walking around asking about if they saw another train part, they would literally say, is that the real McCoy? Is that some knockoff off-brand shit? That was a thing, and that was like the question that people would ask, and I didn't know that until I got that history connected to it. So when you look at the history, you start understanding we created the super soaker and the refrigerated truck, the ironing board, and you start hearing all of this stuff, you are more connected with the conversations that we having in our household, because I had that same experience that Nick had and many of us has, to where you have to literally fight yourself when it comes to hate. You have to literally find that little area of your brain and hit the switch and turn that shit off, because you get real insecure when somebody who's where you from or somebody that looks like you, or you're not used to seeing that thing, like all the women, like Tasha and everybody else in this chat has said, you got to understand, and it takes a level, like somebody said, it's a mind. Poverty is a mindset. And so until we have this thing where it's not like everybody's saying whiteness and richness and wealth, and it's like everywhere you look in the statues and the history books and the classroom books, everywhere you look, we're surrounded by this shit. It's like it's encompassing. It's just like the walls are closing in on you. And so we have to be able to have more educated conversations and normalize conversations at our dinner tables, at our family get-togethers, or whatever we're doing, to understand that there was a black man that created the soul, connecting the sole of a shoe to the body of the shoe. When you understand it,